runners who could figure, Jose Abascal and Jose Luis Gonzalez of Spain. Abascal was on the indoor circuit in the United States this year. Gonzalez ran under 350 here 2 years ago. But primarily, we are looking forward to and expecting a tight battle between two of the top names in the world today, Steve Scott and Eamon Coghlan. We'll be ready when we come back for the mile run right after this. But now the runners are on the track and we're ready for the start of the race. Steve Scott, of course, the focus of attention, and Marty LaCourie, regardless of what happens in this race, how he runs on this track, in a general sense, is important to Steve Scott.
He could put a lot of pressure on himself inwardly because the last 4 times he's run the mile here, he's improved. So I think if he didn't improve here, it might weigh heavily on his mind. He's invested a lot in running well here. He's gone so far as to adopt it as a second home. He's moved his family here for the summer, his wife and child, and will use this as his base of operations. So I know he's looking forward to the World Championships, but he's got to take care of business tonight.
The 3 men on the screen are John Walker of New Zealand on the left. That is Scott in the middle. The man on the right of the screen is Brian Theriot, a law student at Thomas Jefferson Law School in Los Angeles, former UCLA runner, who will be the pace setter or the rabbit in the race. He's been asked to run the first 800 meters in 1 minute, 53 seconds in order to give the runners in the race a shot at a very fast time.
And Steve Scott got a terrible start. Eamon Coghlan, of all people, cut him off right at the start. Scott almost went down, and now Eamon is in position on the outside of the pack. Scott is totally out of it, and that was probably his chance at the world record right there. Scott would have to expend too much energy to pass people to get up with the leader now.
Shades of their indoor race in Cleveland this spring, where Coghlan cut Scott off on the last lap to beat him. That is Theriot out in front. We expect to see Ray Flynn of Ireland close to the front at some point during the race. Walker is unusually close to the front of the pack in 4th place. Coghlan is in 3rd.
Oh, Steve Scott is going to have to control his emotions. He must be fuming because Eamon is in perfect position, and he knows that Eamon caused him a lot of trouble right at the beginning. Ray Flynn in 2nd place is running better and better and does go out and could steal the race here.
They ran the first quarter mile in under 58 seconds. That is a little bit slower than Theriot had been asked to go for that stretch of distance. And you can see now that Theriot, obviously aware of the fact that he needed to speed up, has done so, and the pack has fallen away from him.
Well, everything was set up for it to go perfectly. Scott was on the outside with the pace setter so that he could cut into the pole unencumbered, but he got jostled at the beginning, and the top runners, Scott, Walker, and Eamon, were not able to go with the pace setter, so they've let him get away. It's going to turn into a tactical race, and Eamon Coghlan must be very happy at this point in 3rd place because he can pretty much control the race right now as the pace setter drops out, and he and Flynn will be controlling the race with John Walker in 3rd and Steve Scott in 4th.
Let's see how close Theriot comes to the 153 he was asked for. He's yelling at the pack to speed up, and indeed, Theriot himself hit the 800-meter mark, or the half-mile mark, if you will, in 1:56.93. So it's going to be a slower time than expected, but we'll be seeing a lot of tactical races over the next 2 years, and this is one which might provide us with a possible scenario for future races. That is, Flynn of Ireland is in 3rd place now. Coghlan is in 2nd place, right next to his countryman. Steve Scott, we cannot see at this moment. He's blocked just behind Ray Flynn. That's John Walker on the inside of Scott. The two of them now moving into 3rd and 4th places as Theriot drops out.
And right now, Steve Scott is saying this is what could happen at the World Championship. Now we're in a tactical race. This is where Eamon is strongest. Can I catch Eamon in the last 200 meters? Should I wait until the last 100? Scott's in good shape. Flynn is right there in 2nd, and Flynn and Eamon, of course, both going after an Irish record here.
And if ever Steve Scott had the incentive to make a run at Eamon Coghlan, certainly is today. They hit the 3-quarter mark in 2:55.87, and some of them, at least, should have a lot left. So as they go down the backstretch, that is still Eamon Coghlan of Ireland in the lead. Flynn is blocking the outside on Coughlan's right shoulder. And here comes Steve Scott moving up on the outside. Will he make his move before the turn, Marty? No, he'll go with Coghlan.
I think he's going to try and get by on the turn because Eamon is definitely faster than him in the last 50 yards. Scott has put it to the floor now. He won't look back because he knows there will be somebody back there if he looks. Oh, he's just busted it open now. There's one of the favorites in Helsinki, Steve Scott.
This could If you're looking for someone to beat Sebastian Coe and Steve Ovett, and look at the look in Steve Scott's eyes. He wants this very badly. He's going to win this race big. That is Jose Luis Gonzalez in second place. But this has become a showcase for Steve Scott, and he hits the tape in 3:49.48. He ran under 3:50 despite nearly being knocked down at the start of the race.
This proves an awful lot about Steve Scott. The last quarter very fast, under 55 seconds, and this is the type of race you'd have to run to win the Olympics or the World Championships, and Steve has got to be very happy with the result after all the trouble he went through on that first lap, and he has run away from a very good field here. As John Walker said earlier, any man could win it of the 8 men. You see Steve Scott struggling here. Surprisingly, I think he knew that he still had a good time in the cards, and he pushed it right to the end, trying to run for the 5th straight time, his best time in Oslo, but he just couldn't do it. It wasn't in the cards after that first lap.
The unofficial time, 3:49.48. As Marty LaCour just said, we've learned a lot about Steve Scott today, about his guts, about his desire, about his competitiveness. Some of those things we already knew, but he may impress us even more as the months go by and we wait for Los Angeles next summer. We'll be back, and Marty LaCour will talk to Steve Scott right after this. Now, we are back in Oslo, where once again Steve Scott of the United States has scored an important victory in his career. Scott with an official time of 3:49.49. Second place to Jim Spivey of the United States in his best time ever. Third place to Jose Luis Gonzalez of Spain. Marty LaCour is with Steve Scott. Marty?
Steve, you must be very happy with the race tonight to run the first 3 laps so fast and then demolish an international field. Do you, in the back of your mind, are you happy that something like this happened before the Olympics?
Yes, I think so, and especially before the World Championships. Records will, they'll come on their own. And races like this are excellent experience because this is the type of race that's going to be in the finals in the World Championships. And to put away a field like that is a very big confidence booster for the rest of the season.
Well, I thought you held your composure very well after the little problem at the start. You probably had to change your strategy completely in those middle 2 laps. Did you make adjustments knowing that Eamon got out well and you didn't?
Yeah, I did. I think what the problem was that usually in a record-type race, the whole field is going to shoot out. But what happened here, John and I shot out, but the rest of the field kind of eased back a little bit, and it caused a lot of congestion. So after the first turn, I knew that we weren't going to be having a record attempt tonight, so I had to readjust my entire strategy.
Well, it was a good and exciting race. Congratulations.